Over the past 4 years selling on Amazon Canada, I've done $2 million in sales, shipped over 50,000 units, and today I'm giving you the best 4 categories to start as a Canadian beginner. Because selling up here is not the same as selling in the US. I promise we live different realities. I was once in your shoes searching up Amazon FBA content and only getting fed US guru advice. Today, I'm going to break down all 4 categories that are the best for you as a beginner. I'm going to show you 3 different sourcing techniques on how to actually find the leads, and end with a live demo where I'm going to pull a real lead in front of you and analyze it to see if we can actually purchase it. So let's actually get into this video. So why focus on a category? Some people are going to tell you, don't worry about categories, just storefront stock. That's all you need to do to find leads. And I find that horrible. As a new seller, you need to build intuition. And that's what's going to happen when you start sourcing one category. Start seeing what you're allowed to sell, what you're not allowed to sell. And also in the things that you're allowed to sell, what's actually good or not. Some things are going to go on sale periodically, and you being able to track that, being an expert in one category is going to help you with your long run so much. It's so important. And last but not least, it makes you do faster decisions. When you're in a category over and over again and you spend weeks there, you're flying through products and you're arriving at the good product a lot quicker. So before we actually go and look at the categories themselves, let's go look at why I picked these 4 categories and what you're going to do. You're going to pick one. Yes, these 4 are great for beginners and you can look at them all, but I want you focusing on one of them. That's going to be your choice. I have one, in my opinion, that is a sleeper. Not enough new sellers source this category, and I find a ton of good listings here. Also, I'm going to hit you with that live demo at the end where we're going to source that sleeper category and find ourselves a lead together with one of the sourcing techniques I'm going to show. So now let's actually go and see what is that number 1 category. Well, these are not necessarily ranked in order. These are 4 that are going to be great for you as new sellers, and the first one might not come as a surprise. It's beauty. You have the lowest return rate outside like stuff like grocery that is just not returnable. For things that are returnable, beauty tends to have the lowest return rate, which means that you don't have high refunds, which means that your margins are just going to be higher sourcing inside beauty. Sourcing in beauty is also super predictable. You have a lot of Shopify websites that have subscribe and saves. You can unlock a lot of ROI by taking advantage of the sales that the websites are going to give you. And the best part too about beauty is it makes your shipping boxes so efficient to FBA. Most of the time products are small, they're light, and best of yet, they're replenishable, right? Makeup is going to run out, they're going to have to buy it again, over and over again. The best places to source retail-wise, in my opinion, is Sephora, Shoppers Drug Mart, and Well.ca. These are all 3 websites that I find tons and tons of products on. I've sold tens of thousands of dollars coming from these websites, but the hack here is the best places to source is always the brand website itself if you can. So if you find something on one of these 3 websites, it's always good to take a look on the brand website because then you can unlock special discounts that might only be available to the brand. We're going to go source beauty later, but this is not the category that I'm saying is super sleeper. Everybody knows about beauty. Last note about beauty. What's the difference between a $70 shampoo and a $17 shampoo? If you're into your hair care, maybe you know, I don't, and I think a lot of customers don't know that either, and that's why we're able to buy things at 20 bucks and sell them for 40, 50. The customer doesn't think twice in beauty. Great arbitrage opportunity. So this next category, all right, is the sleeper. Beauty is obvious, but this one is completely slept on. It's tools, guys. You have such a big market for tools and hardware here in Canada. It would be a shame not to source there. It has year-round demand. It's not just like in Q4 where beauty is going to explode because people are giving gifts. People are buying construction materials, tools every single day here. Like beauty, also has a very low return rate. And depending on what you're buying, right? If you're buying tools, obviously it's not going to be replenishable. But if you're buying bits and stuff that go with construction, like nails, those are often very replenishable items. You would be surprised on how replenishable tools is as a category. And again, the hack here with tools is there's a ton of small websites out there that sell tools and that have wholesale accounts with them and selling it for great prices, sometimes even beating these big retailers. But Canadian Tire is something I would absolutely source at because they have crazy deals with their loyalty card, their triangle card, and you can actually get their Canadian Tire credit card with $0 every year and you get some crazy cashback deals. So seriously, tools is the one that we're going to be looking at a little bit later when we get down to our live sourcing part. But you got to understand, like, tool is a year-round engine. I mentioned that with the Q4 dependency. But the next category, I swear it prints harder in just 3 months than all the other categories in a year. You would say, why isn't that the one that you're reviewing today? Well, it's because this next category is toys, right? So toys is good year round, but when it comes to Q4, guys, I don't know if you're watching this. If you're a new seller, you probably haven't been through Q4, but if you source in toys, you're gonna get mini rich, right? I'm not saying you're gonna be a millionaire, but during that 3-month period of October to December, if you sell toys and you source toys, it is stupid easy. That one Q4 can like build your whole year. Last Q4, I was able to do 27,000 in profit in 2 months. That builds a quarter very, very, very well. You're able to source things like Black Friday and they take you through Christmas, right? Which was completely nuclear, but then gives you good inventory for January, February when people have gift cards to spend on their kids. The toy cycles are new every single year, right? You always have a new version of toys, packs, collectibles coming out every single year. So you always have a fresh catalog of things to source. And then you also have the opportunity to buy things, hold them for like a year with a cat, like something like Lego if you get ungated one day. And then when they become retired and you're not able to source them anymore, the price on Amazon explodes, unlocking crazy ROI. There's no shortage of places to source toys and games, guys. You can do this RA, OA, you call it. You can go to Indigo, Toys R Us, Walmart, even Canadian Tire, like we said on the other card, gives you access to crazy cash back with their triangle card, and they actually have a pretty good selection of toys. This category can be very loud and chaotic. You can have a lot of competition here. Now, given that the volume of Q4 really helps you with that competition, but this last category is actually going to be quiet, boring, and I'd actually probably build my whole business around this if I were to restart. It is grocery, right? So I honestly haven't had the best luck growing with grocery, but sourcing it more and more and seeing my students go into grocery, I'm seeing the power that comes from grocery. You literally have 0 returns. It is unreturnable. People buy groceries, they cannot return it to FBA. So the FBA fraud that goes on with every other category, certainly something like electronics, just can't happen here. They do not even have the option of returning it. So you have a very, very low return rate, increasing your margins like crazy. It has the best replenishability. Someone's gonna buy a set of cookies, they're going to eat it inside of a week most of the time, and they're going to buy another set next week. This is unlimited replenishability. You can get some crazy replens with this. And then you set it and you forget it. You put it in, you send a bunch of inventory, it's going to sell. The only hack, right, that I don't have on this screen is make sure you're looking at expiration dates, because that's going to be huge in this category. You do not want to buy something that has an expiration date inside 6 months. You want it at least a year out to give you the best chance on selling it on Amazon and the customer not receiving something that is super old. Now, a little hack with grocery is you wouldn't think so, but something like Dollarama, you can get insane deals. Now, this is RA, it's not OA. I teach OA, but you can walk into a Dollarama and get some insane prices there to flip on Amazon. Certainly when it comes to seasonality and you do a little bit FBM, this is more of an FBA video. If you want to watch an FBM video, I have that on the channel, but you can walk in during Halloween and Easter and like instantly just print what's available in that store. The top stores I would select for grocery, right? You can go expand from here. Costco, right? You can get some crazy stuff at Costco only being sold at Costco. You have Real Canadian Superstore and No Frills, right? Which you can get some really, really good discounted stuff. And you can never discredit Walmart, guys. Walmart is a great website to shop every single category, and grocery is one of them too. You can subscribe to Walmart's Dash Pass and get shipped the same day and be able to send these FBA in no time. So it begs the question. I gave you the 4 categories that I like to source the most, but like, how do we actually source these categories? Because the genuine advice that's out there just tells you the best categories, but I'm not here to just tell you what the best categories is. I want you sourcing these categories efficiently. So I have 3 techniques to show you. I know, guys, I know you're waiting for it, but I gotta tell you, the 3 softwares that you need to start sourcing, it's very lean. It's gonna cost you like barely $100 a month, and you can run this business today if you don't already have it. You need Keepa. It's gonna give us the Keepa charts. It's gonna tell us all the history, the sales history, the volume history, how many sellers there were on the listing. It's a must-have. Honestly, you can't do this business without Keepa. Also gives you Keepa Product Finder, which is going to be one of the ways that we're going to be searching for the leads. You need SellerAmp. It's used for a technique called storefront-stalking. It's an FBA calculator. It's going to give you how much profit you have after all the fees, and you have a 14-day free trial pinned in the comments. We're going to be using it in this video, and you're going to see how useful it is. And last but not least, CanFlip. It's $12.99. You get a 3-day free trial, also pinned in the comments. It tells you what you're allowed to sell, guys. This is one of the softwares that saves you the most time, in my opinion. It's approximately 27 times faster than not having it. The source is me. You know why? I invented this software. It's my software. Okay, I'm going to tell you it right now. It's $12.99, 3-day free trial. You're going to see how useful it is when we're reviewing the techniques. These are the only 3 softwares you need. Let's go into the easiest technique first, storefront stalking with SellerAmp. So this first technique, and we're going to do a live demo. We're not going to go out and source a product and find a winner, but I'm going to show you exactly how to use SellerAmp to source with categories specifically. If you want a full setup of SellerAmp, you can get it right here, right? It's not clickable. Go on my YouTube channel, look for this thumbnail, and you're going to be able to set up your SellerAmp and all your settings so you can properly source. But SellerAmp storefront stalking is a great technique to source categories. It's an extremely fast workflow. It's easy to use, and you can hyper target your best storefront. So I'm going to cut right now to SellerAmp sourcing just to show you a demo on how to find your first product in a specific category that you like. All right, guys, you're wondering, how come I'm not in SellerAmp? I told you we were doing SellerAmp storefront stalking. The thing is you need to start on an Amazon page. Pick a lead you've already found if you've already sold. If you haven't sold anything yet, you just need to find something that isn't being sold by Amazon that has sellers on it. Go ahead and take this, right? Client tools in the search bar. It doesn't really matter. We're just looking for other sellers. This is our starting point only. We're going to have our SellerAmp little dashboard here. It could be on the right. It could be anywhere on your screen. I have it on the left. We're going to scroll down to the sellers. You see, we have 2 FBA sellers, one guy with 38 reviews, one guy with 3,200. Obviously, don't start scanning people with 2,000 reviews. Keep it to under 50 reviews to give you the best chance at finding other products that you're allowed to sell. We're actually going to click this button. We're going to click FBA here. It's going to open up the Amazon SellerAmp official dashboard where we're here and we now have our brand names, the categories of a specific seller. And now all we need to do is, if we have a category that we really enjoy, we're just going to click here, tools and home improvement, and we're going to have in front of us only products with tools and home improvement. And then on the right hand side, we have a mini version of the Keepa chart here, which I will show you how to read in the next demo. We get all of our available information here about the estimated monthly sales, what the buy box is, what the store count has, how many offers there are. And then we have a shortcut here. We can click this to bring up the Amazon page. We can click this Google button here to bring the Google page. Everything we have is here, and essentially we can just go down the list here, find products that look good on Keepa charts, then we can open up the Amazon page and start sourcing from there. And then once you run through, let's say we're doing only tools and home improvement, and you can see there's only 17 products in this category here. They probably won't all be good. Well, once you run through every single one, is on the right hand side, it tells us how many people are actually selling, right? And what the reviews are. So we can just straight up do it from this menu here and pick somebody else. This guy has 8 reviews. We can click this, automatically go to his storefront easily that way. So again, tools and home improvement, this guy has 28 products. We would click this. We will run through every single one of these. And again, if we run through and we finish every single one, we can go ahead and pick another seller to go ahead and storefront stock. So this is how quickly we can jump from one seller to the other. But to be honest with you, the other 2 methods are way better in terms of speed. The workflow is good with SellerAmp, but let's cut back to go see what, in my opinion, is the second best way. This was the third best, and we're going to wait because the next one after that is going to be finally the best method to source. Let's not waste any time. Let's get to Keepa category. All right, I hope you liked that SellerAmp video, but that's the easiest one. And honestly, I find it's not that efficient compared to Keepa categories. In Keepa categories, it gives us the best opportunity to find low competition listings in those categories themselves. It has a higher skill gap, right? You do need to develop a little bit more intuition, but it's highly customizable. And if you want a video, again, to see the best way to use Keepa categories after this live demo, I would watch this video up here. Again, just look for the thumbnail on my YouTube channel and you'll be able to see how I go in depth to find leads in a Keepa category. All right, this is when I start getting pumped up because these next 2 strategies are my favorite. They tie in with the software CanFlip that I created. But right before we dive deep into this method of sourcing, I just want to let you know, if you enjoy this type of video and you want more info like this, I have a free school community. It's a free course in there. Other sellers are in there asking questions every day. You'd be dumb not to join it, in my opinion. It's going to be in the description, in the comments. I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's go right into this sourcing video here. So we're on Keepa, right? And you got to go on Keepa Product Finder. You're going to click Pro and you're going to click Product Finder. It brings us to this page. But once we're here, it allows us to essentially put in our filters because every single Amazon listing that exists will show up here, right? We're talking about millions of products, guys. So we're gonna put in filters and we're gonna pick our specific category that we wanna source. And then using CanFlip, it's gonna tell us what we're allowed to sell. And essentially we're just running the guillotine, going and see every product we can. And what's cool about Keepa categories is we can find listings with very, very, very low competition that we can make great depending on the sourcing price. So how do we start this off? Well, first things first, we need to pick a category. So we need to scroll a little bit till we get to the root category. Once we're here, we're gonna pick root category and we are going to source. Maybe you wanna be in beauty, maybe you wanna be in construction. It really doesn't matter. We'll do toys and games for now. As you can see, that gives us 4 million products. Guys, if you have time to wait for 4 million products and analyze 4 million products, I'm jealous of your time. I don't have that time. So we gotta put in more filters. Let's bring this down to like 1,000 to 3,000 products to check. The first thing I would do is, if you're a new seller, I don't wanna break it to you, probably won't be selling the top 1,000 products on Amazon in a category. So let's go ahead and say, hey, show us the top 1,000 plus rankings, right? We don't wanna get the best sellers. You'd think that you would, but those are probably being sold by Amazon or you're not allowed to sell it. And at the same time though, is we don't wanna get fed leads that are just not selling at all. So we'll put a sales rank of 60,000 at the max. You see this brings us down to 127,000 products. We did a hell of a job, but we still got to do some more. We got to take Amazon out of stock because we don't want to compete with the big boss. I like to put a buy box of minimum $30, right? This is something that I would do. Brings us down to 33,000 products. There's one more filter that I really, really enjoy that I think you'd like to put. And we're going to scroll down under the categories and total offer counts. I like to put 2 here. Why? Because there's a thing called private label. People own their own brands on Amazon. And obviously, if they're the only seller, you probably won't be able to sell it either. I like to put a max of 8 because again, we don't want to jump on listings that have too much competition. See, now we have 12,325 products. Depending on your category, just the filters that we put in now, it might be less. In this case, we still have a lot to bring down. So what I will do, a little tip here, is in the buy box line, we're going to go into 30-day drop percentage and we're going to put a maximum of 15. Right? Not 105, 15. What that's going to do is going to tell us, show me only products that have decreased in price, maximum 15%, right? We don't want the price to drop a lot. So saying, hey, at worst, it's dropped 15%. We see we have 3,745 products. We're going to press find product. And now this is where the next part, CanFlip, comes in. Again, you get it at canflip.ca. It's my own software. It gives us an overlay of green or yellow. Like I said, I have a full video breaking down CanFlip, but what's super important is if you want this to work, you need to do configure columns, you need to write URL, you need to pick Amazon, right? And it's not going to show up here. It's going to be all the way on the right-hand side. You're going to have to take it and drag it all the way to the front, okay? Once you do that, you'll be good. The colors are going to show up and this little Google It button shows up. Next, I'm just going to filter here by bought in the past month, right? We want to see it going 50 plus. And look how many products we're not allowed to sell. We're just going to remove all those yellow products by clicking need approval here. And we can only see the products we are allowed to sell. This is a miracle, right? And now it's as easy as looking at the current buy box price, pressing Google it and trying to get it for at least half. If you can do that, then if it's $25, we can open up the Amazon listing and do a little bit more due diligence and the product will probably be good. You can change the filters to see different types of products. And there's so many different ways you can customize here via the filters. And with CanFlip, you're only looking at the products you're allowed to sell. So this is really a lucrative method and you can find a lot of different products. Now we're going to go to the next part, which is my favorite way to source. I almost guarantee if you take the time to use this next method, you will find leads today, but there is a little bit of more of a learning process. So let's cut right to it now. Last but not least, it is my favorite method. It is a method that I kind of created. I haven't seen anybody else on YouTube doing it. It's called the Seller ID method. Now it is the longest to set up. You do need to collect at least like 40 storefronts. You should already know what a storefront is. If you want a full setup guide on how to get this done pretty well, you can click again that thumbnail on my YouTube videos. It really does an A to Z job on describing the Seller ID method, but all you need to know is that we need to batch 20 seller IDs at a time, right? So that's why I say you need at least 40, is it gives you 2 batches to run through. And this is actually what we're going to be using to go find a lead ourselves in a specific category. We're going to be using Keepa Product Finder like the Keepa categories with the CanFlip overlay, but now we're just specifically looking at 20 sellers storefronts at a time. And these 20 storefronts are resellers. So again, we're just nitpicking the best products that they're selling in the category that we want. Let's go and find ourselves a lead in this live sourcing using the seller ID method in specific categories. So you see right here, I have 20 storefronts with their seller IDs marked. You're gonna need to go and accumulate these. If you wanna know how, I showed you I had a video going A to Z, but for now, all we need is 20 seller IDs separated by spaces. All after that, we can just go back to Keepa Product Finder, and it's essentially exactly like the categories that we just did, except we're looking only at specific seller IDs. So we actually need to scroll down along, right? All the way down underneath the buy box, underneath buy box use, you'll find the seller ID section. Here, we're just going to copy paste these 20 seller ID. As you can see, there's 1,500 products that got, and we're just going to go and look at a specific category, right? So we're going to go back up, go ahead and pick beauty and personal care. It's going to bring us down to 212 products by these 20 sellers. So then we're going to press find products, and like the other one, we're going to filter by bought in the past month, and now we essentially only have beauty products with these 20 seller storefronts. Why this method is so overpowered, right, is because once we're done this, we can then load another 20 storefronts, and it's only resellers that are in these seller IDs that we're accumulating. So now it really is as easy as filtering down in the bought in the past month like we did on the other listing to get the 50 plus, and starting here going upwards, right? At this point, we can just highlight the image and have a nice big image, and we're just looking at the buy box price, and we're trying to get it for 50%. So if we just keep on going down, we can open up a ton of listings like this L'Oreal product, $19.21. I'm looking for it for like $8, $9. If it's not available right away, if I can't see it, I'm on to the next one. And we're going to click Google it over and over until we find a product. So we go to the next page here. It's going to start, CanFlip's going to start scanning its page. A lot of things that are already ungated for us here in beauty. And that's the bonus of sourcing a specific category more than others. Beauty is my main category, is where I find most of my products. So you can see I have a lot of products that are already ungated. And really what's important for this method, again, is the seller IDs here. This is just one batch. I have 11 batches, right? So I can do the same thing and put these 20 seller IDs over and over again and look at the category specifically in every single one. And if you press Google it on every single green lead, I guarantee you will find a lead to sell, because if you're accumulating seller IDs that are close to yours, they should be sellers that have the same capacity to source as you. It is impossible if you use these 3 techniques and you source these 4 categories that you don't find any products. So if you enjoyed this, you can join my school academy. And if you really need help with your own sourcing, you can join my mentorship. You can send me a DM in school for more details. It's a hand-holding approach, 12 weeks of one-on-ones. So if you're interested, you could go ahead and click the link down below.